You're standing in your kitchen. The onion is already diced. Your eyes are already stinging. But somewhere in the last few minutes, before the onion, before any of it, you felt your throat tighten for a completely different reason. Something on your phone, a memory, a song. And then it happened. Water, welling up, spilling over, for no chemical reason at all. You've done this your whole life. So has every human you've ever met. But here's the strange part. You are the only animal on Earth that does this. Not the only animal with tear ducts. Dogs have them. Elephants have them. Even crocodiles have them. Which is where that old phrase comes from. But those tears exist for one job only. To keep the eyeball wet and clean. They are plumbing. Yours are something else entirely. Yours respond to grief, to joy, to a stranger's kindness on a crowded train. No other species on the planet cries because of a feeling. So why do you? Let's go back. Not centuries. Millions of years. Long before language, before fire, before your ancestors stood fully upright, they were making sounds. Loud ones. Infant primates still do this today. When a baby chimpanzee is separated from its mother, it screams. It's not weeping. There are no tears. But the sound alone is enough to bring an adult running through the trees. That scream is a signal, and it works because it's expensive. It's costly. It takes energy, and it draws the attention of predators too. A cheap signal can be ignored. An expensive one cannot. Somewhere in the story of your species, that costly scream picked up a second layer. Tears. Researchers studying this shift point to something called the honest signal problem. Any communication system that's easy to fake eventually gets faked, and once it's faked often enough, it stops working. A false alarm call that costs nothing will eventually be ignored, but a signal that's hard to counterfeit stays believable. Tears are hard to counterfeit. Try crying on command right now. Most people can't. That difficulty is the entire point. It's what makes your tears trustworthy to the people around you. The biopsychologist Ad Vingerhoets has spent decades studying exactly this. His research suggests that emotional tears likely evolved as a signal that couldn't easily be gamed, one that tells the people nearby, without a single word, that something real is happening inside you. Not a performance, not a manipulation. A signal your body produces almost involuntarily, precisely because voluntary signals can be lies. Think about what that means. Every time you've cried in front of someone, some ancient part of your brain was broadcasting a message it could not fake, even if it tried. I need something. I am not okay. Come closer. And here's where it gets stranger. Tears don't just signal to others, they change what others do. A study led by researchers at the Weizmann Institute in Israel found something almost unbelievable. Men who smelled women's emotional tears, tears collected specifically from crying, not from onions, not from saline, showed a measurable drop in testosterone and reduced activity in brain regions linked to aggression. The tears themselves, invisible, odorless to conscious smell, were doing something biological to the person nearby, disarming them, calming them, pulling them out of a fight response and into something softer. Your ancestors weren't performing sadness for an audience. Their bodies were literally chemically de-escalating the people around them. Now, here's the part that should stop you for a second. Tears of joy work almost the same way. Watch a crowd at a wedding. Watch a parent at their child's graduation. Watch yourself the next time something goes impossibly right. Why would evolution wire happiness to the exact same output as grief? Psychologist Oriana Aragón at Clemson University has studied this pattern closely, and her research points to something called dimorphous expression, the tendency for extreme emotion of any kind, even good emotion, to spill out looking like its opposite. Crying at happy news isn't a glitch. It's your nervous system hitting a ceiling. Intensity has to go somewhere, and your body only has so many exits. That's worth sitting with. Your tears were never really about sadness. They were about intensity, about a feeling too large for your face alone to hold. So picture your ancestors again, not a single person, but a group, a band of maybe 30, moving together, dependent on each other, days from the nearest stranger who might help if something went wrong. In a world like that, isolation could be a death sentence. If you were sick or grieving or overwhelmed and no one around you knew it, you might not get carried, fed, protected. You needed a signal fast enough and honest enough to pull people toward you before it was too late. Language couldn't do that job yet. Words came later, and words can lie anyway. But tears arrived first, and tears don't really know how to lie. This is also, probably, why you almost never cry when you're completely alone, the way you cry in front of someone you trust. Researchers have long noticed that emotional tears spike dramatically in social settings and drop when no one is present to witness them. If tears were purely about relieving internal pressure, being alone shouldn't change much. But it does, which tells you something important. Part of you is still, quietly, waiting for someone to see. Somewhere along the way, though, that ancient signal got tangled up with something newer. Shame. You've been told to stop crying, maybe as a kid, maybe more recently. You felt your throat tighten in a meeting and forced it back down. You've cried in a bathroom stall instead of at your desk, in a parked car instead of the room where it happened. None of that instinct to hide it is really about weakness. It's cultural. It's learned. Somewhere between infancy and adulthood, you were taught that the very signal your body evolved to send safely to your tribe should now be hidden from it, which means every time you swallow it back, you're not failing at being strong. You're overriding a 2-million-year-old survival mechanism with a much younger social rule. That's not a flaw in you. That's a conflict between two different timelines living in the same body. There's a reason, too, that crying so often arrives at the exact moment you finally feel safe enough to let it. You hold everything together through the hard part, and then the moment a friend finally asks if you're okay, it breaks loose all at once. That timing isn't random. Your nervous system has been quietly asking a question the entire time you were holding it together. Is it safe yet? Is someone here? And the moment the answer is yes, the signal finally gets sent. So think again about that moment in the kitchen. The onion had nothing to do with it. Something else reached you first, and your body did what bodies have done since long before your species had a name for grief or love or the strange relief of finally being seen. It sent a signal no one could fake, in a language that needed no translation, built for a world where being noticed could save your life. You weren't overreacting. You were, in the oldest sense of the word, communicating. And the next time it happens, standing in your kitchen, in your car, in a room full of people, or in one where you're finally, completely alone, remember what's actually being spilled. Not weakness, not too much feeling for one body to hold. Just the oldest, most honest sentence your body has ever known how to write.